This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
OpenAI has just released a new model. Well, technically, two models. That's not the story. The story is these models are actually one of a kind, as in they don't have any competitors. It's something no one's talking about. This new O1 and O1 mini model from OpenAI are agentic in nature. They think like humans. They go through human level reasoning and take time to respond. Yeah, that's right. They aren't instantaneous and spit out hundreds of characters before you can even read. It goes through an agentic process and a chain of thought reasoning like a human would. I'm excited to talk to you about that today on Everyday AI. And we're going to be telling you also not just about OpenAI's new O1 and O1 mini models, but also 5 things that I think you need to know about this new groundbreaking model. So what's going on, y'all? My name's Jordan Wilson, and welcome to Everyday AI. This is a daily live stream podcast and free daily newsletter helping us all learn and leverage generative AI to grow our companies and to grow our careers. So technically double dipping today. That's how big this one is. Yes, second live stream and podcast for today. So if you're normally tuning in to hear the AI news, by this time, we'll already have a second podcast out. So go check that one, and always on our website at youreverydayai.com. Let's jump straight into it. No fluff, no fillers. Give us about, we'll see, 20, 25 minutes. I'm going to tell you everything. We did all the research, took our time. We've been reaching out to people at OpenAI, actually heard back from one of them. So we're going to tell you everything you need to know. So first, this is a new class of model, period. I don't know why anyone's talking about that. This is a reasoning-based model. So when we talk about other large language models that we talk about all the time, right? And this is the future of work. We talk about Anthropic's Claude. We talk about Microsoft Copilot. We talk about, technically Microsoft Copilot uses GPT-4o. We talk about GPT-4o from OpenAI. We talk about Gemini 1.5 from Google. This new model, O1, O1 mini, they are not the same, right? So this is a reasoning-based model, chain of thought reasoning, extremely impressive, and apparently very good at coding and math. So this is also considered a preview, all right? And it is available now, as in today. Yeah, no wait lists, no blog posts announcing. OpenAI shipped it right after we've kind of been waiting for things like Search GPT. We've been waiting for things like advanced voice mode. We kind of heard some rumblings, and they just shipped it today. So if you have a ChatGPT Plus or a ChatGPT Teams account, it should be available now as you're listening. We have both. We have free, paid, we have the free ChatGPT Plus, ChatGPT Teams, and ChatGPT Enterprise accounts when companies hire us to teach them. So yeah, if you want to have your company learn ChatGPT, reach out. So right now, the only people that have access, like I said, are the Plus and the Teams. Enterprise and EDU accounts should be available within the week, and free, all we heard is soon, but for just the O1 mini. All right, so as ChatGPT did, or OpenAI did, with GPT-4o, there is a 4o and a 4o mini. In this case, there is an O1 and O1 mini. Yes, the naming, not a huge fan of, but it is a completely different class. Also, the API has been rolled out, but right now only to tier 5 users. So only those heavier users right now. So let's get in. That's just an overview. So here are the 5 things that you need to know. All right. And then we're going to dive into each one of these 5 in a little bit more depth. So number 1, this is a first chain of thought reasoning based model, agentic thinking, right? That's the reality. And this is a big step toward AGI. Number two, this is not part of the GPT family. It is different. More on that later. Number three, right now it's very expensive and the messaging rate is limited. My gosh, yeah. Hopefully you don't like it too much because you're not going to be able to use it too much. Also, number four, the benchmarks are surpassing obviously every model that there is, and it's not even close, but it is surpassing PhD level humans. Also not even close. And number five, I think this is going to set off a large language model arms race. All the big companies are going to have to respond. All right. So more on that here. Let's now dive into each one of those 5 things that I think you need to know. So, like we talked about, number one, and also podcast audience, check the show notes. We are going to have a video for this as well. You know, if you're listening on the video, you're going to see, but I'm going to try to do my best to describe at the very end. We're going to run some simple tests. We're going to do it live. Here's the thing, y'all. I've been itching to do this. Even though I have multiple accounts, I haven't even done this yet. So I'm going to be doing it live, unedited, unscripted. Hopefully it works, right? But there's the limits are very severe, which is why I'm saving it, and we're going to find out live. So thing number one to know, this is the first chain of thought reasoning-based model. Huge step toward AGI. So it's like this. Every single model out there right now, I mean, number one, they're so fast, which is sometimes good or bad, right? But also think, models right now, how they work without proper prompt engineering, right? If you're listening, you've probably taken our Prime Prompt Polish course, our PPP course, and you know what? We might have to completely rehash this because this new O1 and O1 Mini changes the rules. It is, right? You can achieve similar outcomes as you can in O1 and O1 Mini in other large language models, but it takes someone highly skilled, right? I would say that's myself. And, so if you're someone that, spends at least 5 to 8 hours a day inside of large language models like me, and if you've been doing that for multiple years, even pre-ChatGPT, right? Like our team's been using the GPT technology since 2020. You have to be highly skilled and spend a lot of time to get the results that you can now get in a single prompt because of this agentic workflow. And you're going to see this. I kind of have this screenshot here, but there is a toggle after you run a prompt where you can essentially see the chain of thought, right? In chain of thought, it is a prompting technique. That's why I say technically, the outcomes that you can achieve right now have already been available, but it has required someone highly skilled, and it has required usually a lot of time. So you'll see it. It's almost like it's going through, in theory, an ideal outcome of what a very skilled prompt engineer would do over and over and over in multiple steps, right? Extremely impressive. It thinks, it processes, and think of it like that, right? Like a smart human can accomplish a ridiculous amount of things with a powerful large language model in enough time, right? Yes, this is slower, right? So yeah, it might take 10 to 20 seconds, like gasp, right? But that's because you literally have an agentic workflow. This isn't where, large, I hate when people call large language models next token predictors. Yes, they technically are, but they are so much more than that if you know how to use them, right? So now think of that happening seemingly dozens of times in one step. Super, super impressive. All right. Second thing to know, this is not part of the GPT family, y'all. So right now, let me just read this from OpenAI. So it says, this is an early preview of these reasoning models in ChatGPT and the API. In addition to these model updates, we expect to add browsing, file, and image uploading and other features to make them more useful to everyone. So that means right now, O1 and O1 Mini do not have these normal features that we expect, right? The ability to browse the web, upload files, computer vision via image uploading, right? Also, it says we plan to continue developing and releasing models in our GPT series in addition to the new OpenAI O1 series. Two separate things, all right? And y'all, the cool thing about having a daily podcast that's been going on for like a year and a half, go check the receipts, right? I cover the rumors, but I've never jumped on the hype. I said OpenAI has zero reason to release GPT-5 anytime soon. This is different, right? This is essentially, we've been talking about this Strawberry, right? OpenAI Strawberry. Before that, it was Q-Star. That's what this is. This isn't the next iteration of the GPT family. This is essentially a new mode or a new way of thinking. All right. So, it's almost like OpenAI just created a fork in the road. So at least right now, it seems for the short-term future, it's going to be operating like that, at least according to this statement that they put out that, they're essentially looking at it as two different series, which is interesting, right? Because if they say that in this O1 series, they're going to be adding browsing, file and image uploading, and these other features, well, then what would separate it from the quote-unquote GPT class series? I'll tell you one thing: price, right? We've been covering it here on Everyday AI. There's been these rumblings and rumors that internal discussions at OpenAI, as they're right now they're reportedly burning through a lot of money and trying to raise a lot of money, and they've been floating out higher subscription prices. I think this is why. Right? Numbers have been floated out like $2,000 a month. I don't think we're going to get to that, right? Right now, you have very limited use of it. But right now, it's still only, $20 to $30 a month for your plan. So, is that what we've been hearing? I personally think so. But if they are separating the two, these two kind of series, I believe that's what they said. Yes. But if they're adding all of the quote unquote GPT features to the O1 series, what separates them? Well, I would think price, right? And maybe this is more for enterprise companies. And maybe, you're going to have to pay a couple $100 or $2,000 in the future to use it. I don't know. But right now, go out and use it now, right? Or maybe it's just going to continue to be extremely limited. All right. So yes, that's okay. So speaking of limits, number 3. Well, it's expensive, but also very limited. All right, let's talk about the expense first. All right, so I'm not talking about on the front end of ChatGPT. That's the limits, but let's talk about the expense. So API, all right, so many companies out there, they're building on top of OpenAI's API. So right now, the O1 preview, again, it's called preview, the thing that the public has access to. $15 per 1 million tokens input and $60 per 1 million output, which like 2 years ago was super cheap, if I'm being honest. But after the 4.0, that's pretty expensive, right? Comparatively, 4.0 is 5 and 15, whereas this is 15 and 60. So big jump up. But again, we are getting agentic workflows in an API, right? That's wild. What this means for businesses, I am excited. Someone hire me right now. I can't wait to go. Wow. I mean, okay. Anyways, let's stick to price here. But O1 Mini, 80% cheaper. $2.50 per 1 million tokens input and $10 per 1 million output. So the O1 Mini is looking nice. It's looking nice. All right, got the chart there for the rest of you, but let's talk now about messages. Yeah, this is pretty limiting here. So there we go. Here's the downside. Right now, you get on GPT-4o, so if you are on the plus account, all right, the $20 a month, right now you get 40 messages every 3 hours, which isn't bad, right? This for O1, technically O1 preview, right? So O1, you get 30 messages a week. Not every 3 hours, not every day, a week. 30 messages a week. Oof. And for O1 Mini, 50 messages a week. Ouch. Yeah. Remember when I said, why are there these two different series? And why is everyone talking about this plan and potentially much higher prices? Y'all, I've been saying this. Go back and look. Go check the tape. I've been saying as models continue to improve, it's worth hundreds of dollars a month as you get agentic workflows. I said that back in 2023, before any of these rumors came out. I said it's going to be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. So it's not shocking when the information reported this a week ago. I said, okay, well, if you're getting agentic workflows, technically, if it works, $2,000 is a bargain. You can't get a smart human to even power your ChatGPT account for $2,000, right? So it's good, right? Assuming the limits. But right now, on that $20, $30 a month plan, not looking good. Hopefully Enterprise will have more. All right. And hopefully, here's the thing I don't like. So I reached out to the head of research at OpenAI saying the 30 to 50 a week is going to be lingering. So asking if there's a way to see your limit, right? What if you're in the middle of a big project and you don't know? Over a week? Okay, how many did I use Tuesday? How many did I use Wednesday morning? Oh, did I use any on my phone on Friday? You have no way to know right now. So Boris here said, good feedback, not yet. So yeah, there's no way to track it. So that's a bummer, but at least they're listening. All right, let's look at number 4. Fourth thing you need to know. The benchmarks are nutty. They're surpassing PhD human level. All right, so this is MMLU. All right, so I'm going to tell you right now on the screen, if you're watching, you got this. Otherwise, I'm going to describe it. So up until today, the most powerful model was GPT-4o. Now, if you have a paid account, the most powerful model you can access is O1, technically called O1 Preview. But then there is the O1 that OpenAI has that they haven't released, all right? So we technically have access to O1 Preview and O1 Mini. But the actual O1 model, which is still under wraps, 92.3 MMLU, all right? And yes, I know there's problems with the MMLU benchmark, all right? And to say it very plainly, right? I try to keep things simple here at Everyday AI for the non-technical people. The MMLU is the Multitask Language Understanding Benchmark. Yes, there are maybe some better by now, but historically, the MMLU, I call it like the ACT for large language models. So about 4 years ago, right? The scores in the 40th percentile were considered cutting edge, right? The average human, right? The average educated human, not a domain expert, would score in the 30s, all right? It's out of 100. So, if you're a smart human, you'll get in the 30s. Models 4 years ago were in the mid 40s. Domain experts, what that means. Literally think of the smartest human in the world. Get all of the smartest humans in the world, and they all take the MMLU. Experts estimate that they'll get about an 89%. All right. 92.3. 92.3. All the other models right now are in the 88s. So, GPT-4o, Claude 3.5 Opus, Meta's 405B, all of the leading models had been stuck essentially in this 87, 88 range for the better part of 6 months. And people are like, oh, LLMs are stagnant. Generative AI is hype. Look, all this money and they can't get over this, 88 MMLU hump. Well, consider it crushed. 92.3 for O1. The O1 preview is 90.8, but 92.3. Y'all, I don't think there's a technical bar where it's like, oh, we've achieved AGI. 92.3 is crazy. So I remember following MMLU back in 2020 when our team first started using the GPT technology. And I remember back then, the estimates were it would take maybe 15 to 20 years to ever hit 90. Got there in about 3 years, right? And now we're in the mid 90s, which a lot of people thought would never be possible with large language models. Development's wild, y'all. All right, and then let's go to number 5. Number 5, things are about to heat up. Are you still running in circles trying to figure out how to actually grow your business with AI? Maybe your company has been tinkering with large language models for a year or more, but can't really get traction to find ROI on Gen AI. Hey, this is Jordan Wilson, host of this very podcast. Companies like Adobe, Microsoft, and NVIDIA have partnered with us because they trust our expertise in educating the masses around generative AI to get ahead. And some of the most innovative companies in the country hire us to help with their AI strategy and to train hundreds of their employees on how to use Gen AI. So whether you're looking for ChatGPT training for thousands or just need help building your front-end AI strategy, you can partner with us too, just like some of the biggest companies in the world do. Go to youreverydayai.com/partner to get in contact with our team, or you can just click on the partner section of our website. We'll help you stop running in those AI circles and help get your team ahead and build a straight path to ROI on Gen AI. Yeah, there's no AI winter here. There's no hype dying down. My gosh. You know how much Anthropic's got in the bank? Well, I don't know how much they actually have in the bank, but they raised $4 billion from one partner, from Amazon, right? Google has unlimited money that they can print, right? We've assumed that Anthropic Claude has just been waiting, right? This is a wait and see game. Everyone kind of waits to see what OpenAI does. Love the strategic play here, right? I am of the belief that OpenAI has a GPT 4.5 level update for its GPT class ready to go when it wants to, but they have no reason to release it, right? Their GPT 4.0 is technically the best in this class, and at least for now, this new kind of agentic class of large language models, there's zero competitors, right? I mean, there's other companies out there, that have, been creating agentic, more like workflows. But I'm only talking about the big five in the room, right? I'm not talking about anyone else, because these are the world leaders. So they are the first world leader in this class. But you got to look at the cost here. If I'm Anthropic, you don't have time. You don't have time, right? Their most powerful model right now, Claude 3.5 Sonnet. So much of money that these companies make comes from, yes, subscriptions, people paying, $20, $30 a month, whether you're on the base plan or the Teams plan. But so much of it comes from organizations that are paying, right, to essentially use their API. They bring in their data. These companies that are building products that we all use, that we all love, they're all powered by, mainly either OpenAI, Anthropic, or Google Gemini. Anthropic, they have to respond, right? Their most powerful model right now is Claude 3.5 Sonnet. We know their order of models goes Haiku, Sonnet, Opus. So they only upgraded their middle model, Sonnet, to 3.5. So presumably, we've all known that they probably have a 3.5 Opus maybe ready to go. They kind of wanted to see benchmarks of whoever makes the next big splash. Well, guess what? Splash has been made, y'all. So I would assume Claude 3.5 Sonnet or an agentic response from Claude has to be coming soon. Similarly, I would feel Google Gemini 1.5 Ultra. That has to now be in play fairly soon. Or Meta, Meta's been floating their agents out there, and we haven't seen anything either. This is going to get things going. I think especially, right? So now there is a little bit of pressure now here in the U.S. at least for these large language model makers to work with U.S. government, federal regulators, etc. For safety reasons. I would expect after the U.S. election here in about 7 weeks, it's going to go wild. We're all going to get Christmas presents, right? Large language models raining down on us. All right. So now I hope this works. Let's look live. All right. This is not a full breakdown, right? We'll do that maybe next week. Want to go over some basics. All right. So here we go. So keep in mind, a lot of models now to choose from. So always make sure, especially because O1 Preview and O1 Mini are so limited. So always make sure you are using the correct model that you want to use. All right, I'm not going to do a full, prompt rundown. I do need to get more of a rubric, like in official set. I've been doing this since 2023. I just have a bunch of random questions that I ask. Sometimes I'll have it, code a game, go through. I made up some logic questions. There's some logic questions that have been floating out there, on the internet. So I'm going to do a couple, and I'm going to do some that generally models struggle with. So first, I am just going into ChatGPT here. Oh, this is going to be annoying. So actually what I'm going to have to do, y'all give me a second. I don't know what happened with my Edge in Chrome. I cannot log in. I can't log into ChatGPT anymore. I'm getting SSO errors. I've cleared my cookies, logged out, logged back in. Fun times. All right, so give me a second here. I'm having to open, I couldn't zoom in on my ChatGPT app. So now I am going to share. I'm going to share my Firefox. Yeah. Got to go into Firefox. Not thrilled about it, but here we are. All right, so here we go. Now we are going to do some basic tests. So we are in GPT-4o. I'm doing something simple again, going over ones that normally get wrong. I'm saying a man and his dog are standing on one side of the river. There's a boat with enough room for one human and one animal. How can a man get across with his dog in the fewest number of trips? Not bad. Normally, GPT-4o says like 3 to 4. The correct answer is obviously 1. GPT-4o got this wrong. So just so you know, if you're listening at home on the podcast, each time I'm doing this, I'm creating a new chat. So the context window is not skewed in any way. All right, so now my first O1 chat. Here we go. I'm going to do the same thing. And presumably this is going to go much slower. And we will see, like I talked about at the top of the show, a more agentic flow, breaking this down into steps and seeing how the model works. All right, so I'm going to hit enter here. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do a stopwatch here. Let's see how long this takes roughly. All right, here we go. And there. All right, so it says thinking. So it's taking a sec. It says charting the journey. I can click down and I can see it. So, okay, that was actually faster than I thought. Probably took me a couple seconds to get over. Probably took about 9 seconds. But my gosh, this is the first time. And I've tried this simple prompt, every single large language model. I don't know why it screws them up. It always says 2, 3, 4, right? The correct answer is 1. So O1 preview says, the man and his dog can both get into the boat together and cross the river in a single trip, as the boat has enough room for one human and one animal. All right, so let's go ahead and let's look at this kind of chain of thought. And it does time it, so it did say here, thought for 5 seconds. All right, so I'm going to click down and we can look. This one's very simple. So it kind of broke it down. It said charting the journey, calculating boat capacity, identifying the boat's location. This was a pretty simple one. OpenAI shared a lot of examples on their website that went into crazy detail, but this is actually, in theory, simple, right? This is simple. So love to see that breakdown. All right, now we're gonna do probably two more. We're gonna try to do it quickly here. Don't want this to go on for too long. So now we're going into GPT 4.0. I've done this one many times on the show. So I'm saying a box is locked with a 3-digit numerical code. All we note is that all digits are different. The sum of all digits is 9, and the digit in the middle is the highest. What is the code? When I first started doing this, it confused me because I thought like, oh, there's one answer. I made this one up. And then I'm like, oh, wait, no, there's tons of answers, actually. So let's see. Interestingly enough, which you get this a lot with 4.0. 4.0 is trying to do this kind of breaking it down step by step. So it's trying to do a chain of thoughts. And it's saying step 1, define the relationship. It's creating variables, right? A plus B plus C equals 9. So actually, I've run this on 4.0 a lot. 4.0 did just get updated last week. There's always kind of updates going on under the hood. And this is probably the best 4.0 example that I've got. So right now, I technically got a wrong answer, even though it's kind of right. So it identified one correct code, which would be 153. So it says, yeah, so that is technically a correct answer to the question, but there's actually a lot of correct answers, right? So in theory, I can even think of them in my head. I could say 0, 5, 4 would work, right? Three digits add up to 9. Middle digit is the highest. So there's actually a lot. So let's go ahead. Let's pop open O1 preview. Fresh chat here. Let's do the same thing. Let's see it think. All right, so it says evaluating constraints, mapping out the combinations, enumerating digit combinations, assessing digit constraints, assessing digit pairs. Wow, okay. This one's taking a little longer. Evaluating potential codes. All right, I'm going to look at it as it goes. Identifying unique codes. Now, identifying valid combinations. I'm looking at this. Some of this doesn't even make sense to me. Identifying valid digit sums. So you'll see here, big difference from what we're used to. You know, GPT 4.0 spat out an answer in like 2 seconds. This is thinking. It said it thought for 44 seconds. Wow. All right, let's see if it got the answer right. All right, so let's go down. A lot of information here. Filtering possibilities, verifying combinations, thinking about possibilities, evaluating code choices. Wow, a lot of math here. A lot of math. Let's see what we actually got. Interestingly enough, so we got the answer wrong here again. It gave one correct answer. So it said the answer is 450. But again, we know there's actually many correct answers, right? Technically, I have to relook. So it says a box is locked with a 3-digit numerical code. All we notice that all the digits are different. So as an example, it said 450. So 351 would have worked. not 252. Right. Anyways, there's more than one that works. So although in this case, O1 preview was a little more impressive with its thought, still didn't get it right. So that's one that is still stumping large language models. All right, here's another one I've been doing since the beginning, since I started Everyday AI. How many words are in your response? This one, no model, as far as I know. And this is a pretty famous one. Seen this in research papers, right? But in why this doesn't work, and this is the same reason why, and I broke this down into like a 20 tweet thread once, why you can't ask, how many R's are in strawberry, right? We know that one works. OpenAI did a demo on that. And I don't want to waste one of my precious 30 queries for the week. I got to teach you all. All right, so now I'm saying how many words are in your response? And the reason why this doesn't work is because large language models technically don't understand words, really. They break smaller parts of words into tokens. So it's this tokenization process, so they actually don't know how many words they're going to spit out to you. So I'm going in the regular 4.0 mode here. And it says the response contains 23 words. And obviously the response 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 contained 5 words. So it said 23. Not even close, right? Large language models can't do this. Let's see if an agentic model can. All right, I'm curious. Let's go. New chat. Here we go. We're going to O1 preview, same thing. And let's see how it does. It is thinking. So now it's counting words, understanding paradoxes, crafting a response. All right, we'll see how it does. Evaluating response, avoiding exposure, thought for 13 seconds. So it says the number of words in my response is 9. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Impressive. Simple for a human to do, right? But think, you have to, if I'm quizzing you and I say, hey, answer this question and tell me how many words are in it, you got to think a little bit first, right? You have to think ahead. You have to think like a human. This is how I'm going to respond. Before I respond, let me count how I would respond and then respond, right? So it shows this kind of agentic chain of thought, step-by-step reasoning. All right, we're going to do one last one. I don't want this podcast to turn into a super one here. This one I just thought would be interesting, right? So I'm going into 4.0 now. I'm saying, please create a realistic plan to address world hunger. Keep in mind the current state of affairs, political limitations, geographical challenges, and technical implementation. That's one thing, y'all. I worked at a nonprofit for 10 years. I am extremely excited on how this new model can be used for nonprofits to tackle huge societal issues, right? We always think, and I get it, large language models, AI taking jobs. Yeah, it's going to take, y'all. I don't care what anyone says. AI is going to take more jobs than it creates, period. I think the future of work is, think of how now, people are, doing DoorDash and Uber and Lyft, right? Like, if I'm being honest, I think in 10 years, more people are going to have their own small companies than people who have traditional full-time, W-2, 40-hour-a-week jobs. I don't think that's the future of work. I think the future of work is many people are going to have many small companies. Anyways, I've always wanted to know how models can solve problems, right? I think it's a powerful thing to think about, because we only think about the bad stuff. So here we go in 4.0. It's breaking it down. So it says, immediate and short-term relief, 1 to 3 years, improved food distribution, logistics, nutritional supplement programs, key actions. Okay, so it's doing a pretty good job. Lays out a nice plan. We can't judge which one's better, but I'm just curious. I really want for this one. Yes, I mean, you can't compare these, side by side and say one plan's better. I want to see how a model made by humans that we don't think is human, how does it think about a problem like this, right? That's what I'm not even super interested in the output. I'm interested in how it thinks about an issue like this. So let's go into 1.0 preview. We're going to enter a new chat and let's see how it thinks. So navigating world hunger, I'm reading out the steps. Oh, thought for 5 seconds. Did not think very long about it. Okay, interesting. So it says the steps, navigating world hunger, understanding the challenges, and then it created the plan. So it looks similar in length, and I'm looking at some of the kind of bullet points here. So they did a similar job. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this show up, y'all. So as a very quick recap, brand new model, first of its kind in OpenAI's O1 preview and O1 mini. So very quickly, 5 things. It is the first model of its kind, chain of thought reasoning. So am I blown away? Yeah, I'm impressed. I need to put it through its paces. I had very simple kind of test runs, but we saw the chain of thought reasoning, and y'all, this is the worst it's ever going to be. It's only going to get better from here. And I think this is a big step toward AGI. Number 2, not part of the GPT family. 2 separate series. So yes, right now there's limitations to this. You don't have browse with Bing, file upload, computer vision, etc. Like we talked about, this was originally codenamed Q-Star Strawberry, this agentic chain of thought thinking. So we'll see if in the future this does lead to that more expensive model. Number 3, right now it is expensive to use in the API and extremely limited, although the O1 Mini, not too bad. Number 4, the benchmarks, extremely impressive. MMLU, off the charts, in a league of its own. And then last but not least, I think we're going to start getting so many large language model updates now. I think Claude from Anthropic, Google Gemini, I think is going to start to improve and bring so many of their developer aspects to the front end. I see Meta probably rolling out agents sooner than we might think. I think this is kind of the first splash that is going to really bring a wave. All right, I hope this was helpful. Like I said, double dose. If you want the normal news, all that, make sure to go to youreverydayai.com. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe. If you're listening on the podcast or on YouTube, please subscribe. Let me know what you want to hear more of, and I'll see you back tomorrow and every day for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.